many employees would get COVID.
And
we're going to get through it. We're going to get on the other side of it.
Governor Reynolds offers optimism despite rising COVID numbers.
And important information for those facing their first Thanksgiving in the kitchen. Your KCAU 9 News at 10 starts now.
We are Siouxland proud. This is KCAU 9 News at 10.
And good evening. We're glad that you're with us this evening. I'm Tim Seaman.
And I'm Sophie Erber. Several supervisors at a Waterloo TYSON plant have been put on unpaid leave.
A lawsuit from the family of a late employee alleges a manager at that plant organized a cash buy-in winner-take-all betting pool for supervisors. The bet? How many plant employees would test positive for COVID-19? It's our top story tonight at 10. The gambling came to light following a wrongful death lawsuit filed by the family of an employee that died back in April from the coronavirus.
That lawsuit claiming that TYSON management did not do enough to protect its workers and encourage people to work while sick during the first wave of the virus. During a press conference today, Governor Kim Reynolds defending the way the state handled the situation at the TYSON plant.
We said this is what we can do to help. This is critical to our supply chain, and we know we have to do everything we can in our power to make sure that we're protecting our workforce.
The CEO of TYSON has announced that he's hired a former U.S. Attorney General to lead an independent investigation into the lawsuit's claims. Governor Kim Reynolds announcing today that nearly 24 new outbreaks at long-term care facilities across the state of Iowa are underway, bringing the total number of outbreaks to 114. Current data listing more than 2,800 people affected by the virus, along with nearly 1,000 deaths. Again, all of this tied to long-term care facilities. Governor Reynolds adding that she has approved $14 million of CARES Act funding to long-term care facilities. This to cover testing, staffing, and other needs.
City leaders and local police are weighing in on how Sioux City will go about policing Governor Reynolds' newest virus-related proclamation. Police Chief Rex Mueller says that he's hopeful that the people of Sioux City will follow the governor's order and work to police themselves. He's asking that business owners and customers hold one another accountable when social distancing and wearing masks. But if an Iowa business is not following the mandate, there are ways that folks can report them. Simply call the police department, or you can report that business online through the Iowa Department of Inspections and Appeals.
We will go and investigate as needed, but again, our resources need to be directed towards public safety in the sense that we need to respond to crime. And so we think that our citizens and have faith that our citizens are going to police themselves. For those people that do have concerns, though, we will respond.
Mueller also adds that businesses can pick up a mask required sign. That's one that could go on your door, perhaps, at City Hall, as well as grab available masks through the police department. Here's the updated COVID-19 numbers here in Siouxland tonight. Woodbury County Health reports 133 new cases in the last 24 hours. Tonight, patients with COVID-related symptoms total 68 at Sioux City's 2 hospitals.
In Nebraska, Dakota County now reporting more than 3,000 total cases after 47 new positives were confirmed today. And in South Dakota, Clay County reporting its 9th virus-related death, along with 251 active cases. And as Nebraska hospitals report just 26% of staffed beds available, the state now promoting a new initiative to encourage people to follow the guidelines. Leaders and organizations from across the state of Nebraska helping launch a new statewide coronavirus campaign called Do Right Right Now. The goal of that campaign, to create a unified response to the ongoing pandemic. One of the state's top officials saying that if you have an event with 10 people, there's a 43% chance someone in that event is actively infected and spreading the virus.
Holidays can really be a magical time of year, but in 2020, it brings just so much risk.
That means 2 to 3 weeks from now, unless we are able to dramatically change course, we will see roughly 2,000 patients requiring hospitalization across the state.
Nebraskans can find more information and resources on the website rightnow.org. And many Siouxlanders are changing their Thanksgiving plans. For many, that means cooking a turkey at home for the very first time.
That's right. The task is being tossed to somebody else this year. KCAU 9 News reporter Hannah Adamson here to show us what's often overlooked by many of those first-time Thanksgiving cooks.
Tim and Sophie, in past years, folks could rely on a number of family members and friends to help with that daunting task of putting Thanksgiving dinner on the table. So if you're doing it with far fewer people or even solo, here's what you need to know before you head to the grocery store. Thanksgiving Day in the middle of a pandemic means many Siouxlanders are preparing much smaller grocery lists, like this woman who says it's just her and her dad celebrating this year.
We want to keep kind of my family a little bit safer during this time.
For many, smaller gatherings mean you might be preparing the turkey yourself. Kevin Potabom with ISU's Extension and Outreach Office says before you get cooking, first things first.
Really making sure that everything is clean before you get started. And then again, once you're done preparing, to make sure that any of that cross-contamination doesn't happen after the fact.
You also need to know how much time you'll need to thaw your turkey, especially if you plan on deep frying it.
The best way to thaw a turkey is actually to do it in the refrigerator. For every 4 to 5 pounds for the turkey, you need 24 hours of thawing time in the fridge.
Potabom says you can also thaw out the turkey using a sink or a tub if you need to. Just make sure the space is squeaky clean and that you give the bird 30 minutes of thawing time per pound. Also be sure to change out the water every half hour. And of course, once dinner's done,
we really recommend that you don't go more than just a couple of hours of it sitting out before it gets into the fridge. If you freeze it, that turkey's going to last for quite a while. If it just goes in the fridge, probably about 4 days is the absolute max you can leave it in there.
if it all seems too much, you're not alone.
We're cooking a ham.
My dad and I are going to grill some steaks.
But if you do give turkey a go,
Follow the directions. I don't know that I'd say expert, but I can make a turkey.
a few more things to keep in mind. If you thaw your turkey in the fridge, make sure to put it in a pan with edges and thaw it on the bottom shelf. That way any juices from the meat don't cross-contaminate other foods. Potabom also recommends getting the turkey to 165 degrees when cooking it, although he also says many folks actually prefer the taste of turkey if it's cooked at 170 degrees. Hannah Adamson, KCAU 9 News.
You were taking notes, right?
I really was. That was very specific information. Thank you, Hannah. And, you know, I'm with those people that are doing a non-traditional one. One year we were on the road, my mom, sister, and I, and we stopped for sushi. Because why not? It's supposed to be family and your favorite meal, so we like sushi.
It's about the people more than what you're eating for dinner. That's
really
for sure.
is.
Coming together, just different this year. Well, some Siouxlanders are looking for something to do during these days, and some holiday cheer now available thanks to a local tradition that kicked off just today.
Pretty cool, the holiday tour of homes moving into the newly renovated Warrior Hotel, helping with social distancing. 5 designers decorating suites inside the hotel for groups of 8 to enjoy, instead of busing groups around Siouxland to individual homes.
KCAU 9, once again, a proud partner in this project. The Holiday Tour of Homes, one of the biggest fundraisers each year for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Siouxland, and it was, I guess, just too nice to have to go inside today.
Yeah, it was really beautiful, even into the evening hours, Scott. Warm and atypical for this point in November.
Yeah, pretty unusual. We had high temperatures today up in the mid-60s. Usually high temperatures are in the mid-40s. So yeah, well above average once again today with a lot of sunshine to go with it. That was certainly nice as well. We'll check conditions on the Port Neal Welding Company camera at the KCAU 9 studio. The high temperature this afternoon in Sioux City at 66. So again, that is 22 above normal and only 5 degrees short of the record high temperature from 1989. Temperatures now are in the 30s and 40s across most of the upper Midwest here. We're seeing 51 in Des Moines, 43. And forecast Wednesday 51 and sunny skies. Much of the same for Thanksgiving Day. Sunshine and 51 degrees. So some pretty nice conditions there for Turkey Day. It looks like we'll cool off just a smidge next weekend, but highs still in the mid-40s Friday and Saturday. Tim and Sophie?
Pretty good run that looks like it's got a few more days of life left.
Yeah, it really does. And if you're gonna deep fry a turkey, they always advise to do it outdoors. That's perfect weather for it too.
See folks in the garage.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Scott. Well, Thanksgiving almost here, and one Siouxlander going beyond the simple jack-o'-lantern for his design.
Granite has texture and grain and all that, and a pumpkin does too.
How this Siouxland man is using skills he learned carving memorials to craft something just a little more seasonal. That's next.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Tim Seaman, Sophie Erber, Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson, and Sports Director Jake Jones. This is KCAU 9 News at 10.
For the past several weeks now, we've been asking you to let us know about the people in your life who have a unique hobby, talent, or just a special story.
Now, just days away from Thanksgiving, we bring you our first Siouxland story, and it gets carved in Yankton, South Dakota. That's where Scott Lucan has been leaving his mark for many years now. And after seeing his work, you just might be inspired to grab a knife.
They're monuments of remembrance.
Granite is one of the hardest materials that you can work on.
Lasting longer than those whose names are carved here.
Plenty hard to last, centuries and centuries.
Beginning with Scott Lucan's grandfather.
He did final date cuttings in the cemeteries and, things like that to get his foot in the door.
3 generations of Lucans have carved and crafted these markers, sharing their creative skills while producing a final glimpse of a life lost.
Stone can be shaped in about any different way you can imagine. Granite has texture and grain and all that, and a pumpkin does too.
That's right. This master crafter carves at both ends of the spectrum.
You have granite that lasts, indefinitely, really, and then you have a pumpkin that at best might last a week, but yeah, it's total opposite ends of the spectrum.
This graduate of Colorado Institute of Art.
I think we're going to do a turkey because we've got Thanksgiving coming up.
First put a knife in the hard skin of a pumpkin as a preteen.
So, you take care of your tools no matter what, and they'll take care of you, and they'll last a long time. So sometimes the shape will kind of tell me what it's going to work better for.
What started with triangle eyes and a one-tooth smile, eventually leading to more intricate design details.
Drawing with a tool. So this will be just the outline of the back of the head. The meat of the pumpkin. It does allow you to do quite a bit of detail. To me, the creative process is what I really enjoy.
Unlike at the family business just up the street from his cozy studio.
It is therapeutic for me. I don't get stressed out about, oh my gosh, is this going to turn out right?
These cuts don't carry quite the cost.
Yeah, you can just pitch your pumpkin if it doesn't turn out. You don't want to have a major design change on a monument. This Tom Turkey, he's going to be strutting along, looking for the ladies. So he's got his feathers all fanned out, all his glory, saying, hey, girls.
Instead of marking the end of life, this 10-pound Thanksgiving creation is given life. Stroke by stroke, cut by cut.
And you put the iris in there, and that thing actually turns around. Like it's looking at you. Feathers is, that's going to be the furthest in area, so it'll be the last area that you're going to carve. And
on a normal pumpkin project, like these created for a local art festival, Scott will spend a couple hours or more bringing the orange globe to life. Today's project, just a quick beginner's cut.
I think we're about ready to call this one done.
Unlike the stones carved to mark the passing of man, these memory makers won't survive the test of time.
I actually enjoy seeing a pumpkin degrade, and it totally takes on a whole new personality. But ultimately, yes, they all end up going somewhere where the nature takes it back.
Until next fall, when Scott will once again unpack his trusted tools, again showing that not all great creations are carved in stone.
And make sure to be watching for Siouxland Stories every Thursday right here on KCAU 9 News at 5 and again at 10.
And if you know someone with a unique hobby or talent, share it with us. Again, that address on your screen, news@kcautv.com.
And look for another Siouxland story soon. We will not have one airing over Thanksgiving, but be sure to be watching December the 3rd for our next Siouxland story. Quite a guy up there in Yankton, South Dakota.
It looked like a lot of fun for you to experience.
It was interesting and quite a craftsman, no doubt.
Oh yeah, that's a work of art for sure. Well, the Remsen St. Mary Hawks are first Siouxland football state champion.
Jake has more from Cedar Falls on just how big of a day the Hawks had. That's right after the break.
U9 Sports. Welcome back. The Remsen St. Mary's football team finally got over the hump after some snake-bitten seasons, making it to the Dome, but not winning it all. The Hawks winning their first championship in 16 years this afternoon. KCAU 9's Jacob Russo is in Cedar Falls, and was there for all the excitement as he breaks down today's action.
Well, Jake, the 8-man tournament has certainly been a wild ride. Remsen St. Mary's scored 108 last week, and they followed it up with 48 this week to take home the Class 8-man title, their first since 2004. The Hawks got it done in all three phases of the game. On offense, quarterback Blaine Harpinall was a force through the air and on the ground. He was responsible for 5 of the 7 Remsen St. Mary's touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing scores, while Jeremy Coink and Brendan Fish each rushed for over 50 yards. All told, the Hawks finished with 336 yards in total offense. On defense, RSM was just as dominant, holding the Knights to just 119 yards on the day, allowing only 7 first downs, and most importantly, 0 points. Jackson Bunkers led the way with 10 tackles and 2 sacks. Ryan Willman added an interception as this team just cruised over Fremont Mills in an outstanding display.
Our defense, obviously they had a rough game last time, and everyone was talking about St. Mary's gave up 94 points. I don't think that they'll be able to win a championship. And I think our defense took that to heart, and they knew that they're a better defense than that. And they came out today, and they showed how good of a defense they really are.
We were just happy that we got the run fits down. We spent a lot of time in the last 3 days making sure we fit things correctly. And then offensively, we knew some different things were going to happen within the defensive structure that we could take advantage of, and we were able to do that.
These kids have been working for this for their entire high school careers, and they finally have something to show for it, the 2020 state championship. More action tomorrow. OAB, CIG, and Central Lyon George Little Rock are going to be going for championships in their respective classes. But for now, from Cedar Falls, Jacob Russo, KCAU 9 Sports.
The Nebraska High School Football State Championships will be played tomorrow, and due to COVID, none of them will be at Memorial Stadium.
Well, today was one of those days when you're just real happy because it seems to be above average. Tomorrow, maybe not quite the same.
Yeah, just a little bit above average. Today we were spoiled kind of with those highs in the 60s. Tomorrow we'll drop it off a notch into the 50s, but still pretty decent for the month of November. Tonight a low temperature of 36, and tomorrow we're headed for a high of 55, and there will still be a good deal of sunshine along the way, as it looks like the wind will stay pretty calm from the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Going into the weekend, we cool off again, as it looks like on Saturday we'll have a high of 49 with a chance of some showers, but it's most likely that those will be very light and arriving late at night on Saturday into Sunday. So unless you're staying up late, you probably won't even see much rain. Going through next week, a decent shot at seeing some more showers happen on Monday, and temperatures should be in the 40s and 50s approaching Thanksgiving next Thursday.
We really are spoiled, so anything below what we have is going to feel cold.
Yeah, pretty good out there now.
Thanks for joining us this evening. We hope you have a great night.
We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.